So you wrote this book. Is this your first book?
This is my first book, like ever.
That is so incredible. I mean, it must feel so great to now be a published author. I can't even imagine.
It's surreal. It's crazy. And it's like I tell everybody, I might get emotional. It might be because my kids are involved in it or it's that whoa moment,
Mhm.
But I've been a makeup artist for 20 years. I could ramble and talk, I'm a makeup junkie. And I don't want to say all I know, but that is my life. And this is such a like proud and also like I love every minute of it. So I get very emotional when I talk about it because I love it. And
Right.
it's also like I always say it's a children's book, but it's a family book. So with this whole pandemic, which I wrote this before that, everybody's like, well, what was the positive thing you got out of the pandemic? And I'm like, more family time. Because as a makeup artist, I work every weekend. And like now I'm with my kids all the time. Don't get me wrong. I want to kill them half the time. I mean, I'm a mom. I need a little break sometimes, but I can never get that back. I love that. We have movie night 5 to 6 days a week, 6 nights a week.
Awesome. I love that.
So those are the moments that you're like, so I'm definitely more emotional now being home with the kids because you get to, it's that bonding that I missed when they were babies. So yeah, brings you back.
That is your quarantine silver lining. Every conversation I've had over the last several months that we've been in this thing, just talking to people, there's always one or two or a few things that everybody says, oh, well, despite all of this, here's something great that's come of this situation. And I'm like, everybody has a quarantine silver lining. And that is yours, getting more family time. And now you're a published author. And I'm sure you have an amazing, successful, lifelong career as a makeup artist, but it must just feel so great to now have another job title on your resume.
Amazing.
You're a multifaceted woman, and that is so, so impressive. And I give you credit for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now, at what point has this been something that you've wanted to do for a little while? It's been something that's brewing, an idea you had, something you were thinking about for quite some time now, or how, tell me how you kind of came to the realization that you wanted to write a book.
So truth is I always said I would actually write a book about makeup. And it was like either like just something on that totally not children's book, either like back in the day of being a retail artist, like the behind the scenes of being like behind the counter, not like a tell all, but like just like the life of a makeup artist, something like that. Never in the book that I wrote. This was actually an accident. Do you want to hear that whole story of how this, it's a little long, but I'm going to try to, because it's funny, because that's how it all came together.
The best.
So, what?
The best way, a happy accident.
Okay, yeah, because it was a happy accident. So, what happened was, this happened last fall. So mom life with me, like you see me glammed up now, I have a client later. So like makeup and all this, mom life when I'm not working, I'm a hot mess. Like I'm a legit hot mess. It's usually hair back, bandana, or I have really, really curly hair. So if it's not together, it's Jersey curly hair, no makeup, that kind of thing. So my typical school day morning, just remember, not COVID, this is last year. It's your typical school day. So I'm also not a morning person. I don't sleep that well. So the alarm goes off, snooze, alarm goes off, snooze. We hit that like 3 to 4 times. This typical morning might have been 8, not really sure, but it was like, by the time I hit that 6 snooze button, we're now officially late. My morning is crazy. So get up and I sleep in my husband's a big dude. So I sleep in his like pajama shirts or, the ripped paint shirts. And I'm like, it's time to get up. I'm waking the kids up. Come on, school. So of course I don't make my life easier by setting up lunches and snacks because that would be a normal thing to do to not have that crazy morning. No. So feeding the dogs. I have a big golden retriever and a little mutt, and feeding the dogs and getting the lunches ready, the snacks, while like, brush your teeth, we're gonna be late. It's constant screaming, craziness. Yeah, and they're always like, no matter what I look like, my kids, I'm doing the hair because they have to look perfect for school. My daughter doesn't like the tutu that matches with the shirt, that the outfit that she picked out the night before. So now we're trying to find the perfect outfit that she wants while getting, because I don't cook, so the frozen Eggos in the toaster. Now I know it's like time, right? We have like 3 minutes to get outside to the bus. I have them ready, and I have to find my shoes to get to the bus stop. So this was like my funny moment because it's like, oh my God, I can't go out barefoot. Like that's just going too far, right? I need shoes. So I had my like Tory Burch that are really flat, the sandals, and I couldn't find the other pair. And then I had my Nike, the foam ones. So there's about like a good inch size difference. I had the left and the right, but I'm going out with 2 different pairs of shoes. So I'm actually doing like the limp because it's such a level.
Yeah.
And the dogs have to come to the bus stop. Otherwise, like I've ruined the kids' day if the dogs are not greeting them on the bus. So now I'm finding the leashes. I'm making sure they have their backpack. So the dogs are all excited when they go out. My dog is 100 pounds, the golden. So he's like pulling me out. I have this with coffee. Remember, I haven't changed my clothes yet. So I'm in like, the sight to see. So I get out with my coffee. I'm limping, my clothes, and my neighbor, who always goes straight to work. So she's like beautifully put together, gorgeous, God bless her. She's like, hey, Lauren. I'm like, hey, And 2 seconds ago, I'm screaming like, I see the bus, let's go, My daughter like, love you, mommy, have the best day. I'm like, you too, babe. My son runs back. He's about to get on the bus and gives me like the hugest hug. Like doesn't want to let go, like giving me kisses, doesn't care who sees him, And I'm like, I love you, bud. Have like the best day. I love you, love you. I'm like, get on the bus, love you, love you. But like still, it just makes everything all better, He gets on the bus. I try to unwrap the leashes around me, catch my breath. I go inside and I have a stand-up mirror. And when like you get a glimpse of yourself, but on a good day, and you're like, oh, okay.
Ooh, yes.
And it's fun. But then it's not a good day, right? It's not.
Oh my God.
And you're like, oh, first, I want you to have the image. Okay, my hair, it was like day 4, curly, like Jersey afro, like just like the curls were out to here. Mascara, I never cleaned up, down my face. And the rip shirt, I didn't have a bra on. So as I'm going like, have a good day, Chloe. I'm like, did I give the kids a shot? Like what even? Like, what do they, I don't even know what's happening. And I start laughing because there's nothing else you could do at this point. I looked like a mom. They probably were like, your mom is crazy. Like, your mom is crazy. And if the neighbors even heard me screaming before, they're just like, God help this family.
Hot mess.
And then after the laughter, like when I'm just like, you know what? That was like the worst of all the mornings. Like all mornings, school mornings are crazy, but like that's as low as we could go in the Vena household today, And like Chloe was blowing me kisses and Travis couldn't squeeze. I mean, like he was squeezing. And it just shows that no matter how much of a hot mess you could be or how much the craziness or you yell, your kids love you no matter what. Mm-hmm. Like it just comes to that point of like nothing matters. Their mommy is just the best, Yeah. So it wasn't even like, oh, I'm going to write a book. I started that night writing a book to my kids, like writing a story. And I was like, I'm going to make them laugh because today was a mess. So on a piece of paper, I was like saying in their eyes, my mommy is the best. She makes the best frozen waffles and just all these funny things that I'm doing wrong, And I this took like weeks. And I started reading it to them and they were laughing because I was teasing myself, and saying how I'm doing nothing right. And the end of the book, it was saying that, I'm the best mom and they love me just the way I am. And they were like, we love that. We love that. They go, you need to write a book so my friends could read it because it's so good. So I'm like, huh. So then I go to my husband who always like tells me, all right, like stop. Like he kind of shoots me straight, like slow your roll, Laura. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. So I'm like, let me ask you, I wrote this to the kids, I was playing around. Do you think this could actually be something or should I just like make it for the kids? And that was cute, And I read it to him, obviously little like as, wasn't the book at that point. And he's like, oh my God, I think you have something. He's like, obviously you're not the only hot mess out there. You talk to your friends, you talk to your clients. We all have been like, they all are the same way because nobody's perfect. And that's when I know Jennifer Young and I called her up And I'm like, so tell me if this is an idea or something. And she's like, I love it. And I went from there.
Wow.
And I still was, when she was like, I love it, I'm like, wait, you love it? Like you love, and she's like, so really. And it really, it kind of went from there. And I was so excited. Like it just, yeah. So I worked on it for like months and it kind of, yeah, but it was like an accident. It was truly a moment with my kids that went into a story.
Oh my goodness. And I think that's probably a large part of what's going to make it so special and so
Yeah,
relatable is because this whole
absolutely.
thing was one big, messy, happy, funny accident and real life, which you then just transferred to the page. And as you're telling me the story, I'm just thinking to myself, I don't have kids, but in so many ways, I can still relate to this, like that morning rush when you have a million things to do and you oversleep. And even people who do have kids, this is going to come out, they're going to read it and they're going to be like, she just wrote about my life. This is me on this page. It's
Well,
going to be so
it's
relatable.
yes, and it's funny because I work with a lot of people in the industry, and I put in there also how, even to this day, it was a lot more of my kids were little, especially my son. So I put in there because it's not just for the stay-at-home mom, it's the working mom too. The one of the most important things I wanted to have in there was my industry of working, because my son, like there's a line, I don't want to give too much of the book away, but there's a part when mommy goes to work and goes in total disguise, because there's the hot mess moment, but there's the moment when I get glammed up,
Oh, yeah.
right? And my son hates stick, my false lashes. He calls them caterpillars. Like he thinks it's the
Sounds like my
creepiest
boyfriend.
thing.
What are
So
you
he
gonna
thinks when I'm like, yes, and he thinks when I'm like this, he's like, oh, like you look so weird. Like, what is this thing? And when I'm just like when I'm like a mess, he thinks I'm like so beautiful. Like I am when I am like like crazy looking and my hair is standing up and there's bags under my eyes. He's like, you're the most gorgeous thing. But if I have lipstick on, that's like dog poop. Like he's like, don't kiss me with the lipstick. Don't kiss me with the lipstick.
Oh my gosh.
And
How old are your kids?
so now they're 9 and 10. And
Okay.
in the book, they're like 5 and 7. Like
Oh,
I put it to that kind of, yeah. So he used to, I don't know if you wear false lashes, but if you keep them on the counter, they
okay.
end up on my floor. And my son, when he was little, would think they were bugs and would scream. So that's like in the book. So my friend who I work with, who has no kids, and I was telling her about that, and she's like, that is the best thing. She's like being an aunt, and that she would go to see her nephew and like pull off her lashes. He would freak out. He would be like, what, you crazy person. So it goes into that too. It's yeah.
Yeah, I
We
think
talk
all
about
men are going to be able to relate to that experience of for the first time or maybe the 15th time seeing a woman pull the fake eyelashes off or finding one of the fake eyelashes on the grounds like next to their
yeah,
bed. What, freaking out for a second and then realizing what it is and like just it's so funny. I love that so much because that is again so relatable. So it's hysterical.
totally. When I was dating my husband, we had 3 golden retrievers. We rescue, and he used to rescue goldens. And he found it when we were, like obviously we were living together at this point, but he found one on the dog. And it took him about a good 20 minutes before he got to the dog. He didn't know if it was like some bug or part of like the rug or like what it was. And he's like, well, I was upstairs doing something. He's like, Lauren, there's this thing. And I kind of was just like, what is that? Because I'm like, this is at the point where, I had to play with him. He knows, like, he's smart. He's not scared of anything. And he was so concerned. I'm like, ooh, what is that? Yeah. And my
Oh
son,
my god.
yeah, because it was like Goldens have a lot of fur. So it was
Yeah,
like
they're so fluffy.
flying
Oh
in
my
the fur.
god.
Yeah. Mhm.
That is
Oh my,
hysterical.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, that poor dog had no idea. He's got
Oh
his
my.
false eyelashes on. That's so great. So it's so relatable. I just can't stop saying it. So relatable. And when does the book come out? When can we officially get
So
our
this fall, we're gonna have the launch, like the pre-order soon. So I'm saying this fall right now.
okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this fall. So hopefully September, October, but this fall. Yeah.
Oh, that's so exciting. That is so exciting. I can't wait to read it. And now do you think you'll write another one? Have you thought about that yet?
I I did. I have an idea. It's funny. Everybody says when you start your first book, you automatically think about a second. And that did happen. And then the more I was writing, like as soon as actually I was done, I was like, oh, I have an idea for a second. So yeah, I definitely think so.
Uh, can't wait. We'll have to be patient for that one. But Lauren, we cannot wait to read the first one. It sounds like it's going to be a trip, and I'm so excited for you. And I wish you all the best. And I can't wait to get my hands on it. So now, where can we follow you on social if we want to keep in touch and see what's going on with your life?
Of course. So Instagram makeup artist underscore LV, or you could do Facebook LV makeup artist.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we can't wait to read it.